Hello, everyone. Can I get your attention, please? Our Green Party candidate has joined us on the stage. And for those of you who are sitting here and choosing to hear his platform, I thank you. That is truly democratic. And that's what our country is about, democracy, and to hear everyone's political point of view. So go ahead, sir, and introduce yourself to our audience tonight.
Okay. Got the mic on and everything?
You sure do. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Paul Gilman. I'm the Green Party candidate for New York State Senate, District 11. The district runs from Jamaica to Whitestone, from College Point to St. Albans. And I plan to represent the whole district. It's a very diverse district. I'm proud to be from here. I was born and raised in not there, but I'm a big proponent of immigrants' rights. I believe we should get rid of borders and just let people go wherever they want. I'm a member of the New York State Greens for about 20 years. I've done many social justice activism, including, ending the free trade agreements, closing School of Americas. Been a big proponent of gay, lesbian, and transsexual and bisexual rights. And there's more. Oh, close Indian Point nuclear power plant. And stop fracking. Okay,
All right, well,
ready
we'll
for
certainly
questions?
hear a lot more from you as the night goes on. We will start with our first question, and that will be from James Hong from Ming Kwan Center.
Mr. Gilman, one way to lessen the influence of corporate money in politics is to boost the value of small individual campaign contributions through public financing, such as a matching system. New York City already uses such a system for its city elections, but New York State doesn't. Do you support comprehensive campaign finance reform with public financing of elections at its core? If not, why? And if you do, would you make any changes to or tweaks to the city system?
I am for public financing of electoral politics. I don't know the exact minutia of all the details. I know if you hit a certain amount of campaign contributions, the city will match it. But I think what's more important is we have stricter oversight in the money that's being paid to both Democrats and Republicans, because they get big money. Whatever the law is, they somehow seem to get around it. And so that's the real issue. We could have all the laws on the books we want, but if there's all this underhanded stuff going on, the laws become irrelevant. So I want to find ways of auditing, keep a stronger eye on campaigns, encourage third parties, because third parties are not necessarily tied to larger industries. I mean, certainly the gas and oil companies are not financing my campaign, so there's not going to be any quid pro quo when it comes to fracking.
Thank you so much. Next question, please.
Un problema muy común en la industria y también en las comunidades de bajos ingresos es el robo de salario. Esto es cuando los trabajadores van a trabajar y no se les paga lo que se les debe. A veces no se les paga nada. Se han estimado que cada año $1 billón se han robado a trabajadores de la ciudad de Nueva York. Los empleadores le están robando a los trabajadores su salario duramente ganados, mientras que las sanciones contra el robo de salario se fortalecieron en el 2010. Muchos de nosotros no vemos los resultados. Todavía enfrentamos el problema del robo de salario. ¿Cuál es su plan para abordar el problema incontrolado del robo de salario en Nueva York?
And I'll interpret for him.
Sí,
My
well,
name
mi
is-
español es eso, pero
Okay. My name is Jesus Morelos.
mucho gusto.
One of the issues of concern to me and other immigrants and low-wage workers is the way that a state allows employment agencies to defraud us. We are hardworking and many of us use employment agencies to find work. Yet current New York State laws give employment agencies power over low-wage workers by allowing them to charge only manual workers before placing them into jobs. New York's current employment agency laws, which have not been updated since 1970, could be strengthened through Bill S-7742 that Justice for Job Seekers bill is sponsored by Senator Sabino. My question is, what will you do to protect job seekers and eliminate predatory practices by agencies?
Well, I would make a law that if you use a job agency to find a job, that you don't have to pay them until you get your first paycheck. And then you could do away, you don't have to pay. Usually there's a percentage. I've been there, I've been ripped off myself when I was a kid. You pay them, they don't get you any jobs. You go to the special trade school, you pass the trade school, you maybe get one crappy job and that's it, they never see you again. So I would have, but then I wound up not paying them, so we're even. I would have, like I said, I haven't read that bill, the Sabino bill, but I will look into it. And like I said, I believe you don't have to pay the job agency until you get your first paycheck. And then we could do some kind of, scale, 10% per paycheck, 20%, whatever it is, until it's all paid off.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi, I'm Kelly Lunge, a member and intern of Chai CDC. As a tenant, I'm concerned that next year in 2015, when the New York State rent and eviction protection laws are up for expiration, they will not be renewed or strengthened enough to protect immigrant and low-income communities. So my question is, do you support renewing and strengthening these laws? And if so, what changes would you make to better protect tenants? Would you withhold your vote on budget unless stronger rent laws were part of the budget deal in order to avoid an end of session crisis?
I would protect renters' rights and all those laws. Yes, I am for them. I would strengthen them by making them ironclad. I would withhold votes if they want to repeal the renter protections. So, my answer is yes to everything you said.
Thank you.
Question from OCA New York. Do you support the New York State DREAM Act that will open state funding for all New York youth and also raise fund for college scholarship? If you do, what do you do other than just voting it yourself to ensure its passage?
Well, not only do I support the New York State DREAM Act, I actually lobbied for it. When NYPIRT came, I called my state senator, Tony Bella, and my state assembly person, Seminowitz, and I campaigned. I told them, pass the DREAM Act, okay? Because I don't think, like I said, I'm forgetting where the borders. I'm not worried about whether a person is a citizen or not. Everybody has a right to an education. Everybody has the same rights, no matter where you came from, wherever you're born. It doesn't matter. What I do to ensure the passage of it, like put pressure on the rest of the Senate. That's a tough one. I have to build a coalition. I would call out all the racists in the Senate. I would get them, and embarrass the heck out of them. It's going to take a while for the Greens to take over, where we'll have full power. I guess I'll have to be in coalition with some Democrats who will be for the DREAM Act. I'll caucus with them on that issue. The cool Democrats, anyway.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Good evening, Mr. Gilman. My name is Andre Mozique. I'm sitting in for Don McCaffrey at La Fuente. And our concern is that cities across the U.S. right now are fighting income inequality by raising their minimum wage. For example, Seattle just raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour. However, in the state of New York, cities aren't allowed to raise their individual minimum wage, which reduces the competitiveness of our labor market. We believe at La Fuente that this should be changed to allow cities and towns to adjust their minimum wage to their local economy to meet the cost of living. If elected, how will you use your office to help raise the minimum wage in cities and towns across the state?
Well, I mean, you're talking about New York City raising the minimum wage for New York City, but I'm running for state office. So I would definitely be for raising the minimum wage for New York State to $15 an hour. I think that if the city really wants to do it, they should just do it anyway and let the feds come down on them and turn it into a Supreme Court case. I'm for local autonomy, especially when it comes to liberating people and creating the economic conditions needed for the people of those localities to survive. So if it becomes like Supreme Court cases, I'll do amicus briefs. I'm sorry, my legalese isn't that great. The friends of the court. We have to raise the minimum wage. I would do it statewide. And then if New York City wants to do it, I will, I guess, look in whatever arcane laws that allow us to do that.
Okay, you have one final question.
Good evening, Mr. Gilman. Brian Chen from the Chinese American Planning Council. This question revolves around individuals with special needs. So, individuals with developmental disabilities such as autism, mental retardation, and Down syndrome are grossly underserved in our community. Despite their great potential to be active, contributing members of our community, please talk to us about your vision for people with developmental disabilities, specifically those with whom you plan to serve, or with those who reside in the district that you hope to serve.
This issue is very close to my heart. I have a 29-year-old son that is developmentally disabled with disabilities. I got like a 240-pound 5-year-old, and he's in the group homes in the Bronx. And recently, because of the horrible supervision, they wound up moving him 8 hours away, so I'm very upset. This issue, I will be on it like a rock. First of all, one thing about these agencies is that they often pay the people that run the privatized agencies and so-called nonprofit, like the YAA, they pay them like almost $1 million a year just in salaries to the CEO, the head CEO, and the people underneath them get money underneath. What I would do is put a cap on their money, and then I would take that cap and then raise the salary of the actual workers and get higher workers. And there's also oversight group. I'm sorry, I don't recall it right now. I would strengthen that. People have told me not to strengthen it, but I will strengthen it because my son's been abused in the system, and I am outraged by what goes on, and I would stop the over-medication of these kids and these adults. That's another thing. They don't really take care of them. They just medicate the hell out of them. And according to my son's own shrink, with his medications, he'll be dead in 10 years. And that's an outrage. So I want to give more autonomy to the parents. I want more interaction between parents and the actual group home and the supervisors. And that's it. I could go a little bit on for this, but I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad everybody asked their questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You now have a minute to give your closing statement.
Okay, as I said, my name is Paul Gilman, running for State Senate, New York, Senate District 11. I've been an activist for many years. I've given a list of something. My main activism, though, has been ending prohibition against marijuana and other drugs because of the racist implications. When I was growing up, 98% of the people locked up were Black and Latino. Now it's down to 80%. Whoop-de-doo, I'm tired of this. Cannabis is actually good for people. They don't want to admit it, but it is. There's all kinds of scientific evidence. And for public disclosure, I am formerly incarcerated for cannabis charges, and what I did will soon be legal. And I want to grant pardons for everybody who's been locked up for nonviolent drug offense. Pardons, apologies, reparations, and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, because this drug war is the spear point of racist attacks on everybody. Okay, so.
Thank you. I allowed you to go a little longer. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening to the platform. It was great being with you tonight, even with the little dust up.
Hey, thank you everybody for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for listening to me.